So you're thinking about learning to code in 2026. And let's be real, there's probably one big question hanging over your head. A question that honestly nobody was even asking a few years back. With AI getting so incredibly smart, is coding even a smart career move anymore?
And look, it's a totally valid fear. You see these headlines, you see the demos, and you wonder, am I about to get replaced by a bot before I even start? Well, we're going to dive into exactly why the answer to that is a big no. In fact, we'll see how the job of a developer is actually becoming more crucial than ever before.
So let's just get it out of the way. The short answer? No. Absolutely not. Coding isn't dead. In fact, the opportunities are blowing up. And here's the beautiful irony. The very same AI that's making everyone nervous, it's also the single best tool we've ever had to learn coding faster and easier than you can imagine. Okay, so how do you actually navigate this new world? Think of this explainer as your guide. First, we'll talk about what this new era of coding even looks like. Then, we'll get into the modern coder's blueprint, what you really need to learn. After that, we'll cover the security side of things, touch on a super useful skill called containers, and wrap up by showing you how to use AI to, well, learn AI. All right, let's jump right in. Section 1, a new era of coding. And I'm not kidding when I say era. The way we write software has changed more in the last year or two than it has in the previous decade. It's gone from this kind of loose experimental thing to a whole new professional ballgame. And just to show you how ridiculously fast this is all moving, check this out. In early 2025, AI legend Andrej Karpathy was talking about something he called vibe coding, for fun little weekend projects. Fast forward just 1 year. One. And he's describing the new default for pros as agentic engineering. That's a massive shift in 12 months. So what's the difference between these two? Well, vibe coding is like jamming with a band in your garage. It's fun, it's messy, you're just going with the flow. But agentic engineering, that's like conducting a professional orchestra. It's disciplined. You, the human, are in charge, directing all these powerful AI musicians to create something complex and reliable. It's not about ignoring the notes. It's about knowing the entire score. Yeah, exactly. This quote right here, this is your new job. You are the puppet master. You're not just typing code line by line anymore. You're the orchestrator, telling one AI agent to build a feature, another to write the tests for it, and a third to clean up the code. You're the brainy with the operation. But, and this is the absolute key, you can't be a puppet master if you don't know how the strings work. You can't conduct an orchestra if you can't read music. You have to understand the fundamentals of coding because your AI agents will make mistakes. And it's your job to catch them, to know what's right, and to steer them in the right direction. You simply cannot manage what you don't understand. Okay, so if that's the new job, what's the new curriculum? What does this AI orchestrator actually need to learn? That brings us perfectly to our second section, the modern coder's blueprint. The great news is your learning path has changed. It's not about spending months memorizing every little bit of syntax. AI is great at that stuff. Instead, it's about focusing on the big picture, on 3 crucial pillars: mastering the fundamentals, understanding architecture, and learning version control. First up, the fundamentals. These are still absolutely non-negotiable. You've got to know your way around things like variables, loops, object-oriented programming, and APIs. They're the DNA of all software. And yet, language choice still matters. Generally, you're looking at Python for anything AI and data related, and JavaScript for pretty much anything on the web. Next up, software architecture. And honestly, this is more important now than it has ever been. This is the stuff the AI can't just figure out. Asking the big questions like, how do we structure this whole project? Or what kind of database makes sense here? That's your job. This is the high-level thinking that allows you to direct your AI agents effectively. And number 3, version control. We're talking about tools like Git and GitHub. Think of this as your safety net, or better yet, a time machine for your code. When you've got AI agents making tons of changes really fast, things can get messy. Version control is what lets you track every single change and, if something goes wrong, hit a big red undo button. This right here is what separates the pros from the amateurs. Okay, so we've covered the what's. But what about the single most critical, most human part of the job that remains? Well, that leads us right into the security imperative. Here's the deal. You can't trust AI with security. You just can't. Security and user privacy are huge, massive blind spots for these models.
They're built to be helpful, not paranoid. And that means your human oversight isn't just a nice to have, it is absolutely essential.
There's an old saying in engineering that's never been more true. Paranoia makes a good engineer. Your AI, it's not paranoid. It doesn't lie awake at night thinking about all the ways someone could break into the system or steal user data. But you have to. That's your responsibility. All right, ready for a pro-level tip? A skill that will really set you apart? Let's talk about the power of containers. So what is containerization? It's actually a pretty simple idea. Imagine you could take your entire application, the code, all the files it needs, all the settings, and put it all inside a sealed box. That box is a container. And the beauty is, that box will run exactly the same no matter what computer you put it on. So why is this so important when you're working with AI? Because that sealed box is also a padded cell. It's a safe sandbox for your AI agents to play in. If an agent messes up badly or, goes totally rogue, it can only damage what's inside its own little box. Your actual computer, totally safe. It's a must-have safety precaution. Okay, we've talked a lot about what you need to learn, but maybe the biggest question is how? How do you learn all this stuff efficiently? Well, for our final section, we're going to look at the secret weapon, using AI to supercharge your learning. I mean, the difference here is just mind-blowing. What used to take a 4-year degree or a grueling 12-month boot camp can now be mastered in about 6 months of dedicated full-time study. Why? Because you literally have a world-class, genius-level tutor on call 24/7 for free. That's a game changer. So, how do you actually put this AI tutor to work? It's not about just asking it random questions. You need a strategy. And it really comes down to 4 key things: having it summarize and prep you for new topics, getting it to explain code, using it to build practice projects, and having it break down dense documentation. Think of it like this. Here's your toolkit. Before you even start a new topic, tell your AI, summarize this for me and give me 5 questions I should be able to answer by the end. Struggling with a concept like, say, object-oriented programming? Ask it. Explain this to me like I'm 10, using a pizza analogy. Want to learn a new framework? Command an AI agent, build me a simple to-do list app using this tech. And yeah, you can finally stop dreading technical docs. Just paste it in and say, explain the important parts. So you see, learning to code in 2026 isn't a gamble on a dying skill. It's an upgrade. You're not learning to be a bricklayer anymore. You're learning to be the architect. You're the one with the big idea, the vision. And now you have these incredibly powerful tools to orchestrate and bring that vision to life. So the real question isn't, should you learn to code? The real question is, what will you build first?